But I was involved in Casa del Sol, and that's a very interesting story. That's where you went to elementary school.
No, actually, I went to elementary school in the old building down in Pearson, where the lumberyard was, halfway between Pearson and Allen West. It was the Improvement Association building at that time. That was where I went to school.
That was what grade?
6th grade.
Okay.
That was the first school we had here, and it was 1st through 6th. And our teacher was Miss Rutledge, and we had 8 kids, I think, the first day, and by the end of the year we had like 15 or 16, and she was really upset because she came up here to retire, and the 8 kids were great, but the 15 or 16 from 1st through 6th, yeah, really did. And it was fun though, and then they built the school over there on 2nd Street, which you guys bought.
Well, the 2nd Street school was the DHS Elementary School, which later became the Winslow, which I didn't approve of.
Oh, did it go to Winslow?
Yeah.
Did it really?
Anyway, they had a nice DHS Elementary School. Really was a nice school, but we were growing, getting more kids here, so they had to build more rooms. So at that time they had passed the environmental impact laws, so they had to get an EIR on the additional rooms. And they did that with a geologist, and he said, sure, we can build the rooms, but where the school is located is on earthquake fault.
Well, that's another story.
That's the story. And they told the school board that if there was an earthquake, since the school board knew it, the attorney told them that, they would be responsible. So they immediately sold that land, put it up for sale, and moved the school to where Winslow now is located.
Yeah, I had 3 kids go to that school on 2nd Street there.
Yeah, it was safe. When
that was
Huckabee actually bought it with a partner at the auction, and I looked at buying it with James Brown. We were going to.
Well, you even called me.
Yeah.
Remember, they called, so what do you think it's worth, and this and that and the other thing, and I said, nah, I'm not interested in it. Well, I don't think I had the money at the time, just like it is today.
I know. We can always see what good things are. We just have to have the money to do it.
Well, Huckabee and who? I thought you went in on the thing.
I did.
Oh, okay.
But originally I didn't. It was Huckabee and some guy that stayed at his place. He had a motel.
Yeah.
Who was Winslow?
Huh?
Who was Winslow?
Principal of the school.
He was the principal, a little bit of the school. They should have named it after him. It was too hard to spell.
Well, they should have named it the Canyon Elementary School. Joe Canyon was the first principal.
That's right. He was there a long time. But Desert Hot Springs Elementary School was famous. It was our first school. It had our name in it. You know who did that was, what was her name? Bad loudmouth. Anyway, she got a pass. She pushed that to Winslow. I didn't want to fight with her. But anyway, we bought that land. Huckabee did. About that same time, Larry Bertrand came to school. They came to town and wanted to build some farm home apartments. And I was on the planning commission with Huckabee, so I knew that he had that property, and I said, why don't we use that? So we bought the property. Larry Bertrand, Jasper Huckabee, and John Furbee. We were going to build that apartments. And so we had to do an EIR also. We hired the same guy that the school people hired and turned it in to the city, and their geologists refused it. Would you guys like some water? We have Mission Springs water. I need some.
Hey, are you still bottling that?
Yes.
Can we get it and have it at the store?
Yeah.
Are you selling it or are you giving it away?
I'm giving it away.
No, I mean at the district.
Giving it away.
Because if it's being given away, I would, rather than sell them to Sonny, I would rather just take it down there and give it to them for nothing to promote the district and the city.
I agree. It costs the district a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll take that home. Give that to my granddaughter.
Yeah.
She'll get a kick out of that.
Well, drink that and I'll give you another. Anyway, so they refused that, and that cost us about $5,000, $6,000. I was unhappy. I'm always unhappy losing money. So we did another EIR. And this time we hired a student of the city's geologist. he trenched the land, diagonal trench, which is the state of the art at that time, maybe still is. There was no earthquake fault there.
You want an interesting story on that fault?
Yeah.
Frank Kibbe and I were on the C committee at that time, which was the Palm Springs School District site committee for new schools. And we happened to be on it, and they came up with that deal that they had to move the school.
Yes.
And we said, you don't need to move the school, the fault's not there. Look at these pictures that we've got that were taken years ago.
You were right.
Show where it is. Well, so we met with the geologist and with the school board, and the geologist said, well, we have all the records that prove that. And so Frank said, well, where did you get these records? He said, these records are from the Desert Hot Springs Water District. And these were all taken, and all these measurements and everything were taken, and we know they're good. And Frank says, yeah, I know they're good, because I did it. And they looked at Frank and they said, what? He said, I made all those reports. I wrote those reports. Those are from me. There's no fault in the area where you're saying it is. It's northeast of there.
It is.
It's not that close to the where you're sitting, and there's no need to abandon that school, and the board just said, forget it.
And they abandoned it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was their loss, but, and I didn't know about that.
Yeah, Frank, we were sitting there, and the guy was giving him all this spiel about where he got all these records, and Frank said, well, you know, he said, I made all those reports. I wrote all those reports.
Yeah, Frank did a lot. He knew, he did this water district. Todd didn't know a damn thing.
Who was he?
Yeah.
Frank?
Frank Kibbe knew everything.
Frank Kibbe?
In fact, they were here in about 45.
That's right.
Yeah, they moved here in about 1945. He and his two brothers and his mom and dad, they lived up on 6th Street, right behind us.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now he doesn't live here.
No, he's in Texas now.
And his brothers, I think, in Big Bear area.
No, his one brother is in Palm Desert, I think. He was in the real estate business. And then his other brother just passed away, the one that was living in
the VIA guy?
He worked in, he was in Colorado, worked in Denver.
Oh.
And I forget
It was his brother that worked for the VIA.
Could have been.
Had that.
Yeah, it might have been.
Jim, do you remember Ma and Pa Dodd?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were the owners of the Idlehour.
Idlehour, right.
What do you remember about them and their business?
Just that it was a little one-room bar, and they had a dance hall that was outside at the time. And they were the only restaurant in town, and they were closed on Monday. So if you wanted to eat somewhere Monday, you were out of luck. And
well, so apparently part of it was the old coffee adobe, and then wasn't there like a metal Quonset hut or something that was kind of attached to it?
Quonset hut.
Weren't there were some military buildings that were brought here to Desert
Well,
Hot
the
Springs.
theater was the theater from the air base in 1946. The movie theater from Palm Springs. What's their name, John?
Oh, I know.
Not Freebie.
No.
Streamies. Streamies. They moved that building over.
They were going to have gambling casino there.
Well, there was talk about
it.
it.
Then turned it into a movie theater.
But anyway, it was the theater from the building, from the air base. Yeah, it was the theater from the air base. They moved it over here. And then the Garden Center Nursery was from the El Mirador Hotel when they tore those old buildings down. And then Elvin Todd's house up in the Highlands was from the El Mirador too. They bought those, gosh, when did they bring those over here?
We've got some pictures of them bringing that house down the street for the nursery.
Anyway, it was where the Garden Center Nursery is now. That was one of those, well, it was like a duplex apartment thing at the El Mirador. And then Elvin Todd's house up in the Highlands was a building from there that he brought over and remodeled.
Who was Elvin Todd? What did he do?
He was the manager of the water district for about, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. I forget, 1960 somewhere.
Did you go to school with the learned children? Inez and her husband had 2 sons. Were they still kids?
Not Leonard, you're not talking about Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard.
No, they had no kids when they were living here. Their kids were, in fact, they were
grown already.
They were grown at the time, yeah. They didn't, in fact, Harry had just retired from the LA Fire Department when they moved out here. He was still working for them for, I'm saying a year or 2 when they moved here, and he used to commute.
What did he do here? I heard he drove a school bus.
Yeah, he did drive a school bus for a while. Yeah.
And his name was Harry?
Harry, And then the other, George Bement, was a school bus driver. He was retired from the military. He drove for quite a while. I don't remember who the school bus driver was when I was out there. But, 1943 to 44 or so, we used to ride in Model A Ford to school in Palm Springs. And there was about 3 of us, I think. And then after that, they started bringing the bus to Garnet, which is Interstate 10 junction down there now. And so all we had to do was go to Garnet and catch the bus at that time. And then probably, gosh, when was it, 46 or 47, they started bringing the bus all the way over here.
But to get to Garnet, you still had to go down a dirt road.
Well, let's see. Was Indian paved at that time? I don't remember. But I know that you, when you left Garnet, where you cross Interstate 10 now, it was about a quarter of a mile west, where the road went over and went to the railroad tracks. There used to be a water tank there. You'd cross that road, go down the tracks, across the tracks, and then on into Palm Springs. That was interesting too. Our ball team, we used to play, they had a ball team there, fireballs, a softball team. And you'd play in Palm Springs part of the time, and we'd play here part of the time.
Getting there was a chore.
Yeah, well, if you came back and there happened to be a train there, I mean, you'd sit there for a half hour.
You have to wait for the
train. Because there was no overpass or anything.
Same thing in Coachella. Train, I used to drive there to work, have to wait for the train.
Yeah.
What pictures do you have, John?
Oh, I just some old pictures of Desert Hot Springs in the olden days.
Not too old though.
No.
Oh, there's your drugstore.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
Okay, why don't we wrap it up?
Well, I'm going to ask
Is
John.
it time?
There were at least a couple of movies filmed, and I think both of them involved your place.
Yes.
What do you remember from those?
One time I was on vacation during that was the best one. But Bill, my manager, let it out. We got some money for it. And the producer, I owned a hotel above the drugstore at the time. He loved that hotel. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Ugliest rooms and furniture. He loved it.
You're talking about Robert Altman and Three Women?
Uh-huh. Yeah, Three Women. Wasn't it a crazy movie? I think he made it up as he went along. I don't believe they had a script written.
I think you're right.
It didn't make sense to me. I saw the movie years later. I think maybe you gave it to me. But that was made, and they used the pictures, the inside of that hotel, but they didn't actually do any exterior of the hotel. And then the other picture was Bonnie's kids. And that was a horrible movie too. But that they did at the drugstore, and they had to have extras. And I'll tell you, my customers and clerks got so excited about being in a movie. They had to pay. You didn't have to pay them. They paid me. They got wounded, so they had to come into my store for first aid supplies. And that's why I only had the one half. That was very similar to these pictures. Wherever they are. This is how my store looked.
You go to the train.
But they came in and took the pictures there.
This is great. Oh, interior shots.
That was the olden days. I was so crowded at Christmas. I had so much merchandise. It was wonderful. I made money from the first month I was there. So that's unusual to make money from the beginning of the store.
I remember when we first put out the first circular for the store.
Yeah.
And I remember the company, Budmo Company, they had a circular we put out a couple times a year. And so we decided to put it out. And of course they informed me, well, you know, you're not going to make a dime on it because it's the first one and you have to build up a clientele from the circular. You know, the first circular we made money.
Yes.
Because nobody else had done it.
Nobody else had
We
done
were
it.
the only one in town putting the things out. And it was great for 10 years. Now there's what, 15 in it every time you turn your mailbox around.
Oh yeah, it's always now.
Yeah.
But business was good, you know. Actually, you had the only hardware.
Well, no, we had to build a supply.
But not mentioned, not in the first, when you first came here.
No, it was here before we were
Is
actually.
that right?
Yeah, they were here about a year or so before we were, and at that time, they were where Clary's is, well, yeah, where Clary's is now.
That's
Tin,
right.
that tin building?
That's right.
Okay, that was
Did
the
Frank
building.
Purcell own it?
No.
Okay,
no,
somebody else owned it.
Frank didn't buy it until, let's see, they were in that building, and then my dad started the hardware store in 45, and then that's when they moved down to,
The lumber yard.
I'm trying to think if they went in the improvement, no, they went down to West Drive first.
Yeah.
I think they were where the building is on West now. I think they moved there.
Okay.
And then they moved back up to the one where halfway between us and Cactus, 3 or 4 lots here and there.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, I I think that's when Frank bought it.
Okay.
Because I remember talking to Frank about it. I went to school with him too.
Did you?
Yeah.
I like
And,
Frank.
he was 2 years ahead of me, I think, and Loki was 1 or 2 also. But anyway, yeah, I remember at that time they were True Value in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know if I had any objection to them bringing stuff over here, or actually delivering it here. And I said, no, you're bringing it over anyway. And I said, I really don't want you advertising as True Value. And he said, I won't do it. We'll builder supply, which is what he did until I sold it.
He did do builder supply.
Yeah.
That's right. The fun days.
Okay, sounds good.
You know everything now?
We'll think of things.